everybody, welcome to the 2 a.m. pipe on the patio. It is Sunday night, Monday morning. I am using my Dietz lantern to my right and my W.T. Kirkman lantern to my left. Gives me a little more balanced lighting out here. I kind of like it. I could grab one to show stuff if I want to. I'm smoking my square shanked Missouri Meerschaum again here. I had a good day today, man. I had a fun day. I went out to a couple of the antique stores here in the antique mall and some thrift stores. Did a little searching for stuff. Went out looking for some pipes. Didn't find any. I found pipes, but nothing I was willing to pay that price for. They were asking for a lot of money for pipes that I wasn't going to pay for it. But I did in one thrift store find a really nice crystal ashtray. And as you know, I've been looking for an ashtray, which will be perfect once I put a knocker on it. It's going to be awesome. And one of the really cool things I found was, set this down here, grab the light here so you can see it, was this little antler. I found two of them. They were on a string, piece of leather together. I don't know what they were for, or if maybe they used them to clack them together. I don't know, when they're out hunting or something, but they work perfect as a tamper and a pick. So I bought them. It was the two of them for $6, and so I gave one to my nephew Tim, and I kept this one, and that was kind of a cool find. Didn't find any pipes. I'm still at 7 pipes, and I'm good. So, but after I did that, my daughter and I went up to my niece's house for a family dinner. My wife is sick, so she didn't go. She's got a really bad cold right now. But my daughter Sadie and I went up there, and my nephews and I all sat around a campfire and smoked pipes and just had a really good fun time. Really good time. So I wanted to tell you guys a little story from my life. It was back in probably April or May of 1978, and I was working. I had just graduated high school. I graduated in January, graduated early. And I went to work for this fish and chips place out by the stadium here in San Diego, out by Jack Murphy Stadium, it's called. And a lot of the Padres used to come in there and eat lunch before games, you know, before home games. And so back then, 1978, Ozzie Smith and Dave Winfield were regular customers in this restaurant. So So one afternoon, it was about 2 in the afternoon, and it was just me. I was the only one working there. I was the assistant manager. I was working alone because the other waitress that was supposed to come in, she didn't show up. She was late, running late. So Dave Winfield comes in, and there's another customer. They both order. I take their orders, and I go back and I cook the meals. I put them on a tray and I bring them out, and I take it to the other gentleman that was there first. I give him his food. I take it off the tray and hand it to him, give him his food. And I go over to Dave Winfield. Now, Dave Winfield was always a very nice guy. He was a really nice guy and very quiet. Always dressed really nice. Always wore a really nice suit. He'd come in and he'd read his mail and correspondence and stuff that he would get and have his lunch. So I go over to his table, and I've got his food and his drink on the tray. I reach up and I grab the plate of food. I take it off the tray, and as I do that, the tray tips and his Coke lands right in his lap. Now, he had this really nice suit on, and Dave Winfield is a big guy, you know. And at that time, I was, you know, half the man I am now. I was like 145 pounds or something back then. And I'm like, you know, beet red. I'm just embarrassed beyond imagination. And Dave Winfield is sitting there and he's reading something, and he does one of these. And he just looks at me. He doesn't say a word, man. He does not say a word. And he, oh, my neighbor's is coming home here. So he doesn't say a word. And gets out, or gets up. I get him some napkins to dry off, and he and it doesn't say a word. Does not say a word the entire time. And he, you know, he never, you know, I apologized, and he never said, "Don't worry about it," or nothing. He just was silent, you know. And I'm thinking, man, you know, this is it for me, you know. I've met the end of my days here. And the good thing was that he and Ozzie Smith would come in several times a week and eat there, and they never paid for their food. I mean, they'd write a check, but somebody would always buy the check out of the cash register. So they had an autographed check of Dave Winfield or Ozzie Smith, and so they never actually, their checks never went through, so they ate for free. But I always wanted to talk to Dave Winfield, you know, now, and just ask him if he even remembers that, because boy, I sure do. And God, I was so embarrassed. Man, I was embarrassed. And he came back in later, and it was like nothing ever happened. He was just, you know, just fine. But I always thought, you know, if I could have done that to anybody else, it would have been, you know, bad. But it wasn't Dave Winfield. I mean, Dave Winfield was the guy on the Padres at the time, you know. Good times. So that was my little story from 1978, I was 18 years old, and I dumped a Coke in Dave Winfield's lap. Oh man. And the other guy that was sitting in the restaurant at the time started laughing, and he says, "Man, I thought that only happened in the movies, man." And he's just rolling laughing. I don't even know if he knew that this was Dave Winfield or not, you know. Oh man, I was just so embarrassed. Nice suit, man. So I have to tell you more of these stories every once in a while, because I got some doozies. But I wanted to give a shout out here tonight. There's a guy who's pretty new to the YouTube community, the YTPC, and his name is James Long, and he's got a cool little channel going, and I'd really appreciate it if you guys would check him out, man. There's some neat channels coming up here, and he's got a pretty good one. So that's all I'm going to talk about today. So I'll see you guys out here tomorrow night. Thanks for stopping by. Everybody's always welcome on my patio. Have a good night.